Well, it's been about long enough since I had a VCR up on the bench. This is a Sylvania DVR90V as in Victor, F as in Frank, DVR90VF. And the customer thinks there's really nothing wrong with this unit, but it munched a tape. So I did already splice the bad part out of the tape because it munched it good and it rotated it and squished it and yeah, not good. So I went ahead and I spliced the tape back together already and to verify that the tape does play in a different VCR. So let's go ahead and hit the AC power on this unit, and then I'll turn the power on, and there we go, got a red power light. DVD says it's loading and we're in the DVD mode. Let's switch it over to the VCR mode, and I just have my regular playback tape here. And so this is virtually the same chassis they use in the ZV427s and ZV457s that I've done hundreds, literally, repairs on this unit. It does have the auto head cleaner. Let's go ahead and do the test. And it's not really too terribly bad. I'll probably remove it later because it does kind of, you know, the wires are in the way, you couldn't see it. So what you do is you squeeze this down and release it. And it does actually bounce back into shape. It's probably not long for the world, however. So I'm going to go ahead and pop a tape into this unit. What I want to see is the tape to go in, sit down, and then I want to pause for about 1 or 2/10 of a second. Then the cylinder should fire up, and then the tape guide should begin loading. Now if it just goes down and this thing continues to load, then I know the mode select switch needs service. So let's see what's going to happen. Here we go, tape going in. Oh, yep. And it just continues to load. It doesn't know where it is. And then that would be why it munched the tape right there. So we'll go ahead and try to straighten this out. We'll wind it back in. We'll try it again. Sometimes if it is a dirty mode select switch, after trying it 2 or 3 times, it'll actually begin to make contact. Nope, same exact problem. It's going to get the end, unload. It's going to try to reload. Well, let's go ahead and pull this thing apart and service the mode select switch in it. So I need to go ahead and remove the DVD portion over here, the VCR portion. The power supply on this unit actually lives on the back. It's not under the DVD. This is the later model. And yes, it is a DVD recorder. DVD -R, W, and -R doesn't seem to do anything on the +R. So luckily I have a bunch of -R blank discs to do my final record test when all is said and done. But at a minimum, need to get the chassis out of here so I can get to the bottom of this unit, and then we'll flip it up like I usually do and clean the mode select switch, and hopefully that resolves the customer's issues. So I know I posted this before, how to disassemble these units. I'm not going to bore you with this stuff. I'm just going to cut to the chase. Pull the DVD mechanism out, unplug these, set it aside. And on this one, I think you have to release the power supply from the back panel. Back here, I think there's a couple of screws that hold it into place back here. And yeah, just take this thing to bits, as Big Clive would say. So let's do that right now. Okay, so there's the chassis out of the case, basically. So I'm going to go ahead and flip it upside down right here. Remember, there's 2 screws on this unit, so let's zoom in on those just a little bit. So with the tape door facing me right here, there's this screw right here on the right hand side. And that one's going to be a machine thread screw, so it's got very fine threads on it. And the next one is going to be located underneath this ribbon cable that you got to be really careful about. So just kind of flip it up out of the way right here. And this is going to be a plastic thread screw, much coarser threads, like a wood screw basically. Do not get those mixed up. So I'm going to leave that pulled out like that. I'm going to flip this thing upside down. And then I can basically lift it up a little bit to get to the mode select switch, which is right there. So it's labeled as SW512. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab onto that tab and very, very gently lift up on it until we can actually see the contacts in the mode select switch. And based on what I'm seeing right there, yes, it's going to need to be serviced. It is extremely oxidized. That is most likely the issue. So I'm definitely not prepared. I don't have my stainless toothbrush out. So one moment, please, while I go ahead and find my stainless toothbrush. So first, just with a cotton swab, I'm just going to go ahead and wipe out any trace of grease they might have put on this thing when they manufactured it. I don't think it's going to be very much, obviously. And then I'm just going to go ahead and run my stainless toothbrush around here. Go ahead and wipe it down one more time. And I'm going to say that definitely looks better than when we started. So next I'm going to go ahead and hit this with a bit of acetone. Now, this is a black mode select switch. Now, the white ones are not affected by acetone. That is the white top switches. Now, this is a black top switch, so I'm going to do the acetone test before I go any farther and make sure that I'm good using acetone on this mode select switch. And I'll show you how to do that in one moment. Okay, so I've got a cotton swab and it is soaked with acetone. I'm just going to go ahead and try to clean the corner of it here. And I just want to make sure that I don't get a black swab when I'm done. And I'm perfectly happy with that, so that means the acetone is not going to eat the plastic. Sorry if that was out of focus. Okay, I'm perfectly happy with that. Looks great. Now to this part. Once again, acetone test. And I'm good with that. I'm not going to eat it. So I'm going to clean the wipers. Need some more exposure. And just for the heck of it, we'll hit it with the toothbrush. Only in one direction here. Just like that. Wipe it off. And you can see the little contacts on there. 2 contacts for each point, so 6 little shiny points. I'm perfectly happy with that. Next, a little dielectric grease. Want to make sure all the contacts are coated in here, so they do not oxidize. Had they loaded this up with dielectric grease in the factory, this procedure would not be necessary. Okay, happy with that. Same thing on the contact side. A little bit of grease on that. Next, just snap the two halves back together like that. And then we'll just run it around a bunch of times. In both directions. Make sure that this little tab on the mode select switch lines up with that dot right there, because that actually interfaces with the gear. So this might be out of focus. Yes, it is. Let me turn off autofocus. Excuse me, turn on autofocus. So we've got to make sure the center pin right there goes into the center of the mode select switch. Just like that. Make sure you see the center pin right there. So it is engaged fully at this point. Next we can go ahead and tip that back. We can see the screw hole, and we'll put the plastic thread screw in there. And then the machine thread screw, whoopsie doodles, goes over on this side. Okay. I am very happy with that. Happy, happy, joy, joy. Now, I should have cleaned the rear rotation detector already, but we can do that after it's assembled. We can pull the prism off right here and clean the emitter, which lives in that hole right there. Actually, the emitter lives in this hole, the receiver lives in that hole. So we'll go ahead and clean those up, as well as the supply detector right there. And then over on this side, the take-up detector, which lives right there. They're both focused on this prism assembly, and it lets the microprocessor know if the tape is at the end based on the clear leader. And it also does a double function. When you go to insert the tape, this little black plastic blocks the light on this side only, and it lets the processor know that you have inserted a tape. So I'm going to go ahead and button this thing back up, put it back in the chassis, and we'll give it a test. And while we're here, we'll go ahead and replace the problematic 4700 microfarad 6.3 volt Suscon cap right there. Let's see if we can get this out of the way so you can see it. There it is, 4700 6.3 Suscon. Anytime it's Suscon, it is suspect. So, 4 screws. And basically the whole power supply module should just lift up at that point and come out of there. And get the solder sucker. So people have asked me, this is the Hakko FR301, H-A-K-K-O, Hakko. And so that is unsoldered. Holding it onto the board so I can get orientation correct just in case the silk screening is wrong. And it is correct, so that is good. New capacitor going in. And I should have warmed up my soldering iron beforehand. One moment, please. Okay, new Nichicon capacitor has been installed. The old Suscon cap is out of here. So we should have many, many more years of use out of this power supply. Let's throw this thing back together and give it a test. 1, 2, 3, check, check, check. Okay, all back together. Let's go ahead and power this thing on. I do get a red power LED, so let's go ahead and pop a tape into it and see if we get better results. And yes, the tape does sit down, the cylinder does spin up, and then it does load the tape and apparently play the tape. So let's go ahead and give it about 10 seconds and see if it's going to shut down. I'm still going to go ahead and clean the prism and the emitter and detector for the rear rotation, as well as the start and take up receivers. So far, perfectly happy with that. It has not shut down yet. That is excellent. Then finally, at the end, we'll do a DVD record test and playback test and make sure everything is good on that as well. Okay, pretty happy with that. Stop, eject. Absolute perfection, absolutely perfect. I love it. Okay, let's do the prism and the rear rotation sensor. So power is off. And we'll just go ahead and pull the prism off right here. I should zoom in on this so it makes it easier for you guys to follow. One moment, please. Okay, that's good. So I've removed the screw from the prism. I'm just going to lift the prism up and out. And then I'm going to go ahead and remove that single gear right there. I'm going to grab a cotton swab and I'm going to remove some of the cotton from it because it needs to fit down through that hole right there. And so I've got a cotton swab just moistened with glass cleaner. So I have, whoops, that's not what I wanted. So I've applied the glass cleaner to the emitter and the detector. And then we'll go ahead and do the take-up detector right here. Wipe it off with the dry end. And then over here on this side is going to be the supply detector. Wipe off the face of it. Then we'll dry it with the dry end, just like that. Now, okay, the prism. So I'm just going to grab just a regular paper towel. I'm going to moisten it with a glass cleaner, and then I'm just going to go ahead and wipe off the extremity of the prism, because I have found what does happen on this is contaminants will actually cause the light to be diffused and not get to where it actually needs to be. So all wiped off, nice and clean, all good. Place the gear back on the shaft. Put the prism back in place. And we'll put the one screw back in the prism. Okay, perfectly happy. Next, capture device is going to be connected, and we'll do a playback capture, and then I'll clean the DVD optical pickup, which lives over here. So let's go ahead and get the playback capture set up real quick. Okay, here we go. Capture device running in 3, 2, 1, capture. And we'll try it again. 3, 2, 1, capture. And it shows it is recording. Power on. We should get something on the screen. And it says the DVD is loading, which I don't really care about. I'm going to pop the customer's tape in here. And we'll get it into the VCR mode. And I pressed eject by mistake. Whoops, my bad. Okay, tape going back in. Rewind. And we'll just take it back about 10 minutes because it was at the end of the recording. There's 5 minutes, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10 minutes. Stop. Play. Let's make sure we get video on the screen. Why is play not playing? The switches are oxidized, I believe. There we go. Play. Okay, so there is the customer's tape playing back. Let's turn down the external volume that I have on my monitor. And so there is the customer's tape playing back absolutely perfectly. Look at that. Good video quality. I believe this was recorded probably from a full-size VHS camcorder in the early 80s. I did see something about 1984, I believe, in part of the video as I watched it on a different VCR, but it is playing. So next thing I'm going to do is clean the DVD optical pickup. We will put a blank DVD-R in the unit, and we will record the customer's tape onto a DVD-R and make sure that it does successfully record. So that will be next. Stand by. Okay, power has been removed from the unit. I'm just going to go ahead and unplug these 2 ribbon cables on the DVD board. And then we need to pop off these 3 screws, and 2 of them do have the ground connectors to ground the shield or the case. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and remove this connector. That is the optical pickup. And I do not want to remove that because it subjects the optical pickup to ESD discharge. So this is a different version. Look at that. The whole thing is shielded. How nice to keep dust off of it. Oh, look at that. There's the optical pickup right there. Let's zoom that out. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in the macro mode. One moment, please. Okay, so there's a close-up view of the DVD optical pickup. And I'll get a little flashlight action on it here. It really doesn't look too terribly bad, but I'm going to go ahead and clean it nevertheless. So I've got a cotton swab just basically moistened with household glass cleaner, nothing with ammonia because it can strip the optical coating from the lens. And I see there is a hair dangling around. Hopefully we can get it. Yes, I think we got it. Nope. Okay, I think that should be good. Once again, drying with the dry end and rotating the swab. When I say rotating, I'm spinning it as well as turning it at the same time. Let's take a look at it again. And definitely better than when we started, that's for sure. Okay, zoom out. Today, there we go. Cover goes back on. Two screws to hold the cover down. And then because this one is a later version, I'm not going to check the capacitors. I don't suspect I'll find any bad caps whatsoever because it is a much newer version. Okay, DVD reassembled, cables are connected, ground straps are back on it, ready to go. Let me see, capture device. Let's get it set up. We'll put a blank DVD in it, and we'll capture the video, the customer's tape, onto DVD. So first, I want to find out how long this is. So once I find that out, I'll set up the capture device and get that going. One moment, please. Thank you. Well, unfortunately, the customer did not supply the remote with this unit. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a blank DVD disc in it here. And we'll start the capture device. It is recording. Drawers closing in 3, 2, 1, close. And we'll see what it has to say. Because I can't set the date, the time, or anything. I do have a couple of Magnavox and a Toshiba remote, but none of those work this unit in any way, shape, or form. So let's go ahead and just hit the dubbing button and see what happens here. I'm not sure how long it's going to go. I don't know what mode it's set to. I can't access the display in this unit. It is loading. It is mostly loaded. No, there we go. Okay, DVD-R video mode. It doesn't tell me anything about it. What the heck? Well, it is in the DVD mode, so let's hit the dubbing button. VCR to DVD dubbing is happening, and we'll check back in about an hour and see what this looks like. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 3. Capture device running in 3, 2, 1, capture. Okay, well, we've run out of VHS videotape, so I'm going to go ahead and stop this. And it's going to write to the disk. Sorry for the snow back there. Okay, well, it says it has finalized the disk. Well, maybe not finalized it, but get it finished recording to the disc. So I'm going to stop the disc, open the drawer, we'll close the disc and see if it can read what it just recorded and see if it'll play that back. And it knows it is a DVD-R. So let's hit play and see if we get any video playback. Hello? Play. There we go. And yes, that is what we just recorded from the VHS videotape. So pretty happy about that. Got the VHS working. The DVD does record. So I'm going to wrap this up. I have no way of actually finalizing the disc because I do not have the customer's remote. Anyhow, that's going to be it. The repair on the Sylvania. What was the model of this again? DVR90VF. I certainly hope you enjoyed the repair on the Sylvania DVD-VCR combo. Go ahead and leave me a question, a comment, a concern down below, good or bad. I try to respond when I have time. While you're down there, if you could hit that subscribe button and like this video, it really does help my channel grow. You can follow me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at NorCal715. You can email me norcal715videos@gmail.com. That is the best way to contact me. Once again, please be very, very patient. There's just so much going on right now, and I don't have basically a free second to answer emails at this moment, so please be very patient. Remember, with your help, we can try to keep these things out of the landfill, out of the recycle bin, and out of the e-waste facility. Everyone, thank you for making it to the end of this video. I really, really appreciate it. Everyone have a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and once again, bye-bye.